Welcome to Flip Lesson 49 for the 5th grade. Today we're going to look at multi-step word problems. Word problems where we're given information and that information is useful, but we're going to have to do one part, then a second part, possibly even a third part before we can actually get the answer that the question is looking for. For example, it says Sony is 6 years older than Rex. If we want to kind of illustrate this, right, I can draw a picture that represents Rex's age, right? And I know that Sony, right, is plus 6, right? 6 years older than Rex. Okay. The next part of the information says that Rex is 3 years younger than Louis, right? So younger is going to have to deal with the idea of subtraction. Subtract 3 from whatever the age of Louis is. And then, of course, the third line says that Louis is 12 years old. Right? And so we can represent Louis. Right? We know that Louis is 12. And Rex, right, is going to be somewhere here from Louis. If this is Louis, we subtract 3. Okay, this is where we're going to find the age for Rex. Okay? Now the question is asking, how old is Sony? How old is Sony? And so we're going to use these ideas to help us understand how to eventually add this plus 6 and get Sony's age. First step we need to do is, since we know how old Louis is, and we know the relationship between Rex and Louis, we're going to do that step first. It says that Louis is 12, and Rex is 3 years younger than Louis. So if Louis is 12 minus 3 years younger, we're going to get an age of 9 for Rex. So Rex is 9 years old. From here, we can move on and say, okay, since Sony is 6 years older than Rex, we can say, okay, now we take the 9, the age of Rex. We can add 6, the age, how much older Sony is. And by adding those things together, we can find out that Sony is 15 years old. So we have our first example in a multi-step word problem. Let's try another one. Another example of this, some of these will have to do with subtraction and addition. Some of these are going to have multiplication and division in them. We need to look for keywords to help us understand what is going on. And this problem says Harry earns $13 for every hour he works. If he works more than 8 hours on a given day, he earns $17 additional hours. It says yesterday Harry worked for 11 hours. How much money did Harry make yesterday? Now there is a lot of information going on here, and we need to kind of break this down so that we can understand exactly how to solve this problem. Right? First of all, we know that the first 8 hours of work, he's going to earn $13 per hour. Right? So that would be 8 times 13. Right? $13 for every hour. And so 8 times 13 should give us how much he earns in the first 8 hours of the day. Right? From there, he's going to earn $17 each additional hour. Okay. Now, as we look at, we found out that there's a total of 11 hours, right? I write that second, right? So any additional hour is the hour times 17. Okay? Basically time in half. Alright, but at the moment, just up to this sentence, we don't know how much he's really working, right? 8 hours for 13 hours. All right? I'm going to stop mumbling. Let's keep going. We know he worked 11 hours. So we need to take this 11 hours, right, and subtract it from those first 8. Because those first 8 are going to go at this rate. Right? 11 minus 8 is going to give us an answer of 3. And this 3 is going to fit right here and go at our second rate. First hour is using 8 hours times $13, while our second rate is, in this case, is 3 hours, right? We figured out that there's 3 more hours, and he's going to earn $17 in that amount of time. Once we've decided, figured out how we split up the hours among how he earns his money, now we can go ahead and solve for these ideas, right? We take 13 times 8. That's going to help us figure out how much money he earned the first 8 hours. 8 times 3, right? 4 goes down, 2 goes up. 8 times 1 plus 2 is that. So the first 8 hours he earned $104. Now we can solve for the next 3 hours where he's earning basically a time and a half. That's not time and a quarter. Or time and a third. If you don't know what that means, that's okay. $17 for another 3 hours of work. So 3 times 7 is 1. 2 goes up. 1 times 3 plus 2. So he earns an additional $51. Look at all these steps we've done so far. But we're still not done. Now we got to take our 104 and add it to our 51 to get a total amount of money that Harry earned. Of course, that's going to be 4 plus 1 is 5. 0 plus 5 is 5. So, in his 11-hour day, Harry earned $155. So in this case, we had to really break down the information, figure out where all our numbers worked, working with 8, working with the leftover 3 that came from our 11 over here, working with rate 1, working with rate 2, and then of course, once we figure out where all the information goes, then we have to actually do the math of multiplying, and then of course in the end, adding it all together. So those are some examples of what we're going to be doing in this lesson. As a sample, I have 2 things. First of all, I want you to think about, well, how would we actually solve this, right? So you're going to use this word problem, and you're going to choose which of the proposed equations are going to help you solve this, A, B, C, or D. Which one of those do you need to use to solve this idea? As I'm looking closely at this, I think that 10 should be a 15. I have no idea why I wrote 10. Yes. Let's change this real quick. My apologies. These should all say 15. Make sure you understand that as you work with this. Then, after you figure out whether it's A, B, C, or D, then actually solve the problem, whatever the question is. If Mom watched 25 minutes of TV, how much TV did Sam watch? That is less than 40. All right.